What is an Army board? So this is one of those terms or things that I talk about on my channel a good amount of times, and I'll say an Army board when you go to an Army board. And if you don't know what an Army board is, then you have no clue what I'm talking about. You're like, what the heck is an Army board? Is it literally a physical board? Is it a place that you go? Like, what is this thing that you're talking about? So in this video, I'm gonna let you guys know what an Army board is, if you're looking to join the military, why you should actually go to these boards, because it's gonna help you out a lot. I'm just gonna let you guys know that. So real quick, just to give you a little baseline for this whole Army board thing. Basically, in a nutshell, what it is you're basically getting interviewed by higher ups in the military. So depending on what level you're going to at with the board, so whether it's like a company level board or battalion or brigade, that'll dictate who the leadership is that's going to be interviewing you, because there's going to be multiple leadership there. They're basically, you're going to be sitting in a chair, and there's going to be basically a table in front of you, and you're going to have a whole bunch of NCOs, sergeant majors, first sergeants, and whatnot. They're going to be sitting in front of you, and they're going to be asking you questions. And so their rank kind of depends on the level of competition or the level that you're going to that board at. So it could just be first sergeants, it could just be a first sergeant and then some, like, you know, your platoon sergeants. It could be your battalion command sergeant major with a bunch of first sergeants for the companies. Then it could be your brigade command sergeant major with all of the battalion sergeant majors. So these NCOs, so these leaders, they're going to be asking you questions. What kind of questions are they going to be asking? This kind of also depends on the type of board that you're going to. If you're going to a Soldier of the Year board, sometimes in the military, or actually all the time in the military, they'll have like Soldier of the Quarter, Soldier of the Year. At basic training, they might have Soldier of the Cycle, where you get basically interviewed by some of the drill sergeants and your company commander and your company first sergeant. And for these competitions, sometimes, kind of rarely, they might have some other things that are involved in the competition, but the main event will always be an Army board. And this is going to be a very, very formal experience for you. The first board that I went to was when I was at basic training, and they were doing a board for the Soldier of the Cycle, and they picked the best soldier in each platoon to go to the board. So it was me against 3 other soldiers. And I remember my drill sergeant took me into the office, and he was teaching me how to go about this whole board process. And so for those of you who are going, if for some reason your drill sergeant doesn't teach you how to do a board, hopefully you're going to remember this. But what's going to happen, right? You're going to be standing outside of a door, and you're going to knock on the door 3 times as hard as you basically can. You're going to bang on that door. You don't want to do a subtle little knock. You're going to bang on the door 3 times. Then you're going to wait for the NCOs, the leadership, that are going to be asking you questions, and they're going to tell you when to come in. You do not want to come in before they tell you to come in. So you're going to knock 3 times, they're going to tell you to come in. Once you open the door, you're going to see a chair sitting in front of a table with a whole bunch of NCOs. I should probably overlay some pictures here of my experience going to a board for a competition that I did. But you're going to see a chair sitting there, and what you don't want to do is turn your back to the board. So you want to be really careful not to do that, and then you're going to be doing all of your just really strict facing movements. You're going to walk in front of the chair, you're going to do a right face or a left face depending on where it's at, and then at that time when you're standing in front of the chair, the board leader, whoever the NCO is there, they're going to stand up and they're going to salute you, or you're going to salute them, and you're basically going to request to sit down. And then this whole board process will begin, where they start to ask you questions and you answer them to the best of your ability. If you don't know the answer, sometimes it's better to say I don't know, and other times it's better to just lie. So I'll leave that up to you guys to decide if you ever end up going to a board. But what kind of questions are they going to be asking you at these boards? And again, it kind of depends on which level you're going to or what competition you're going to. At basic training, the questions I was asked at basic training are basically questions that are related to basic training and some of the things that we learned. The drill sergeants there also had a lot of fun, and they asked me a lot of just stupid questions. They found out I was from North Carolina. A couple of the drill sergeants were from North Carolina. The company commander was from North Carolina. So they asked me a whole bunch of questions about that. But for the most part, they basically asked me questions that were related to basic training. Whenever I've gone to boards for actual competitions, for like Soldier of the Year or the Army Reserve Best Warrior competition that I went to, they're going to basically be asking you questions off of a study guide, which are taken from Army doctrine. So all the ADPs, ADP, 7-1 and all these things that you guys can look up, they're gonna possibly give you a study guide. It's gonna be a huge study guide, and so you're gonna try to learn as much of that as you can, and when you go into this board, they're gonna ask you questions directly from that. Maybe a couple of different things. Some things that you can for sure expect to have to say is the Soldier's Creed. You're gonna have to say at least one, if not all, of the Army General Orders. If they're feeling like making you sing the Army song, you're probably going to have to sing the Army song, and those are going to be basic things. Some of the other basic things that they might ask you is your patch and your ribbons. So if you go into an Army board and you have any ribbons, they might ask you to describe and tell what each one of the ribbons mean and maybe how you got it, and then they might ask you to describe your patch and maybe something about your unit, the history of your unit. Now let's say you're not up for all this stress, you're not up for wanting to learn all of this stuff and studying this study guide, and you don't want to go to an Army board. You're watching this video and you're just like, that does not sound like fun. That sounds really stressful, because it is for a lot of people, because in the military, when you're lower enlisted, you're not used to talking to sergeant majors, you're not used to talking to command sergeant majors all the time and having them ask you questions, and you might not know the answer, so that's really stressful for you. And you might be like right now, why in the world would I want to do that? Well, there's two reasons why you want to go to Army boards. The first reason is, in order to make it to an NCO rank in the Army, you have to go to a board. So you have to go to a board and you have to pass a board. Now, it may not be super strict like that. Your board might just be your company first sergeant that's going to ask you questions and make sure you're good enough to be a non-commissioned officer. So going to these boards is going to give you experience, it's going to give you some knowledge, it's going to give you just a general understanding of what's going to happen at the board, and it's going to make you a lot less nervous when you go to your NCO board. The other reason that you want to go to these Army boards is because it helps you get promoted, and you can get awards, you can get Army achievement medals and stuff like that. You can get certificates of achievement, which help you rank up, which fills up your ribbon rack. A lot of people want to get AAMs and stuff. So it's going to help you a lot with that side of things, and it'll help you rank up faster. And why will it help you rank up faster? Especially if you're one of the lower ranks. So if you're an E1 or an E2 or maybe even an E3, and you go to one of these soldiers of the quarter, soldier of the year or whatever, and you win. If you win one of those boards, you're more than likely going to get promoted just because you won that. So that's going to be really important for you. And even if you don't win, it's going to put your name out there to your chain of command, and they're going to know that, hey, this soldier is doing the right thing. They're trying to better themselves. They're trying to put themselves in a position to succeed. And whenever you have your first sergeants and when you have your sergeant majors who know who you are, this is not like basic training anymore. This is not going to basic training, oh my gosh, I don't want my drill sergeants to know who I am. It's not like that in the real Army. If your sergeant major, if your command sergeant major, your battalion, or even your brigade or your company first sergeant, if they know who you are and their knowledge of you is in a good light, so they're like, hey, this guy, the only thing I know about him really is that he's got a good PT score, he's gone to this Army board, maybe he didn't win, but he at least went to it. So they're gonna think in general that you're an overall good soldier, because a lot of people do not like going to these boards. I'm telling you guys, a lot of people don't like going to these boards because they might be a little bit more difficult, because you actually have to try and learn some stuff, and you are actually going to be basically drilled questions by really high ranks. So sometimes when good opportunities arise, or maybe you actually want to do something, maybe you're requesting to go to airborne school, and let's say you're requested to go to airborne school, you didn't get in on your contract, you're at your unit, you go to this board and you didn't win, you didn't even win. You might end up going to your first sergeant and asking and submitting a packet and getting everything ready to go to try and go to airborne school, and then that's going to have to get approved by somebody, right? So when you try to go to airborne school, it's not like you can just say, hey, I want to go to airborne school, and they send you. They're going to have to go through a process, and they're going to have to approve it. Now, who's going to have to approve it? It's going to be your leadership. And if they know you as a good soldier, they are far more likely to approve that for you. So that's a really good reason why you want to go to these Army boards. And the last and final thing before I finish off this video of why you should go to Army boards is just flat and simple, it improves your interviewing skills. So whenever you're getting interviewed, it improves that a lot. So if you go into the Army Reserves or the National Guard or even active duty, and then you get out and you have to go to like a job interview, I'm telling you, it is so much less stressful when you have experience going to these boards, because it is basically an extremely stressful interview process. And if you can do that, if you can do that multiple times, if you can succeed and if you can win, and if you can do what it takes to kind of do well at one of these boards, then a civilian interview is going to be a piece of cake. So that's going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope I answered your question about what an Army board is, what you do, and why you should go to these Army boards, because it's really important and it can help you guys out a lot. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button. That would be awesome. If you want to stick around for some more of my videos, hit that subscribe button. That would be even better. If you're not following me on social media, Instagram or Snapchat, links are right here. If you want to follow me, you can go ahead and do that. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys later.